Next up, let's take a look at the CSU General Education for CSUs. This pattern can be used for both the CSUs and also the Contra Costa College associate's degree. If you are planning to transfer to a Cal State university such as San Francisco State, Cal State East Bay, Sac State, San Jose, this is the general education pattern that you can use. You also can obtain an associate's degree with this pattern as well. Very briefly, a few things I want to point out are some of the overlaps and the differences between this and CCC's GE. This general education pattern is about 39 units. So that means you're going to have more general education required of you for transfer than you do for a local associate's degree. But remember, you still need 60 units to meet those minimum degree and transfer requirements. Speech 120 and 128 both appear on the CCC general education pattern as a minimum requirement for transfer and also a requirement for the associate's degree, as does English 1A or 1AX. The other requirement that's a new requirement for the CSUs as differentiated from the CCC is this area A3, critical thinking. So you have a few options here. Certainly, again, you can use your catalog to determine which one would be the best for you. From the science area, you might remember that the CCC general education requires only one science course, and it does not have to have a lab. However, the CSUs want you to have two science courses, one from physical sciences, one from life sciences, and then your third has to have a lab, or the third area is a lab. So one of these two courses must have a lab associated with it. If you note that some of these courses have underlines, that means that they are courses that have a lab built into them. Astronomy does not have a lab built into it. However, it doesn't have a lab you can add, whereas Physics 110 does not have a lab built in, but you can add the lab to fulfill this requirement. BioSci 110, on the other hand, is the lecture and the lab all combined, and you cannot break them apart. However, it would meet both the science and the lab requirement. So if you were to take, for example, Astronomy 120 to meet the physical science area, you could then take BioSci 110 to meet the life science and lab, or Anthropology 140 to meet the life science, and then you would add the lab. What's important to note here is that some students who are majoring in the sciences, engineers, computer scientists, physics majors, anyone in biological sciences, chemistry, nurses, you almost don't even have to worry about this area because you will have so many science classes. Nurses, for example, will take Chemistry 119 and Anatomy just to meet prerequisites for nursing, in addition to physiology and microbiology. Engineers are going to take some chemistry and some physics. So this area gets covered oftentimes by students' majors. The CSUs require one math course, a transferable math course. So as I mentioned on the CCC GE, Algebra 2 or Math 120 is not transferable and does not meet this requirement. However, many of these math courses are required for a major. In the math and placement section of the course, I go into a lot of detail about how you can efficiently choose the math class that's right for you and also meet general education. On the second page of this GE, we look at the arts and humanities. As a reminder, CCC requires just one course from the arts and humanities, whereas transfer requires three, one from the arts, one from the humanities, and then your third course comes from either section. Note the asterisks next to some of the history courses. I'll explain that in a moment. In Area D, Social Sciences, again, this is 3 courses from any area. At least 2 courses have to be from a different area. So, for example, you couldn't just take all 3 of these AJUST courses to complete this. You could, however, take 2 Administration of Justice courses and then add AFRAM 110 to complete it. You also can take courses from 3 different disciplines if you'd like. The CSUs also have a lifelong learning and self-development requirement. Counseling 120 is a college success class. That's a very common class for first-year students, as is health education, health and lifestyle. Whoops, I meant to highlight that for you. There's also some psychology classes here that also meet this requirement. And nurses, if you are here, you're going to use this Psych 128. The other important thing, sorry about that. The other important thing to point out about this section, is this Group 1 Historical Development and U.S. Constitution and Government. These are a CSU graduation requirement. They are not required for transfer. However, if you do take one course from Group 1 and one course from Group 2, we can use them up in either Area C2 or Area D for the general education. So a lot of students take both of these courses here to fulfill Area C and D of the GE for the CSUs.